take them, and then we're going to get a chance to see the Walker Fury.
Brilliant, thank you.
Can we just wait here?
Welcome aboard, have a seat. A little chat. We need to get through here. So yeah, this is the observation section. Because what you need to remember is that these aircraft were designed and built in the 30s before the Second World War as long-range maritime patrol bombers to go ahead of the American fleet, because it's American, so they could see over the horizon. So this is, if you like, one of the very first spy planes. So that's what it was meant for, go ahead and see what's going on. That was okay until the Second World War broke out, when they were building huge concrete runways all over England for the American bombers to come over and operate from, but they didn't have any rescue aircraft because this could only go on the water. So they said, right, we'll stick some wheels on it. So a very clever person without computers came up with this magnificent system, you'll see it later, where the wheels can fold up into if the hull, I keep trying to say fuselage, not fuselage, hull, because it's a boat, remember. That's very important to remember, it's a flying boat. So yeah, then you see they could operate wherever the American Air Force went. This actual aircraft is painted up to represent an actual aircraft operated out of Halesworth in Suffolk with the 8th Army Air Force as a rescue squadron. And it was called Miss Pickup because, as you probably know, they like naming all their aircraft. Yes. We've got lovely nose art, as you'll see on the front. That original aircraft actually came to grief doing the rescue in a channel. It lost an engine, it was on the water, and two of the new German jet fighters, the ME, what was it, 262s, shot it up and they had to abandon it. It sunk in the end. This is a very short story. There's much more detail to it than that, but that's what actually happened. As you go forward, you'll notice these bulkheads, this one and that one, have actually been cut away because they were all like the one you just came through, as in a submarine. Because this could be departmentalised, so if you were damaged, you were on the water, you could shut off compartments that were flooding to save the aircraft. The reason these two have been cut out is because later in its life, after it was decommissioned from the military, it was converted as a water bomber. So in here was a huge water tank. So it used to skim the water to pick up its load of water and then go off, fight the fire around again. You've probably seen the more modern ones recently on the telly. So that's what it was doing in Canada for a long time. At one point it actually came over to Europe. It spent several seasons in the south of France and Spain fighting fires. But I'll say again, once the more modern, bigger planes took over, then it was sent back to Canada and it was mothballed for a long time.
Seen the little bear at the top. I just spotted him.
You'll see we've got some rather nice posh, relatively modern airline seats. Obviously these weren't original. The only creature comforts the crews had in the war were a couple of hammocks hanging here, one there and one there. So with a crew of 7, 8, perhaps 9, they could take it in turns to take a couple of hours break. They had a little galley further forward where they could cook meals, hot food, that sort of thing. And obviously being dual controlled, the pilots could take it in turns shift-wise. So up front you've got pilot, well, captain and co-pilot. You've got navigator, you've got radio operator, you've got 2 gunners where you are, for protection, not offense. Engineer in the centre. And if I can just borrow a picture here. These are original photographs. I'll start off with this one. I'll mention a galley. And you see this guy here is standing in front of a little stove where they could cook meals. I don't know what all the other bits and pieces are, I'm not that domesticated. I'm all right in the garden, put me in the kitchen, I'm lost. This is a picture looking through a framework of all the instruments that were in what we call the pylon in the middle. That's the bit that holds the wings up. Because the engineer would sit up there and he's got 2 little windows that he can look out at each engine so he can see if it's smoking, if it's oil leaking or anything like that. And he's got all his instruments there so he can talk to the guys flying the plane about the state of the engines and so on. This is a picture of one of these blisters. You'll see the military version is a bit smaller and it's segmented so that they can open it and mount machine guns in case they're coming under attack. Because you've got to remember these were low and slow. by design. That's what they're meant to be. If they're too fast, you miss things, don't see it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't fly high because, again, you don't see. So they were very vulnerable to fighter attack. So the air stair that you just came up through was a later addition. What used to be there was a little Elson toilet and a machine gun. So you could sit on the loo and fire at anyone who's trying to come creep up behind it. They did have 2 more guns on the nose. So yeah, these are very...
I think it'd be worth saying as well that there's, if you've got Apple TV, there's a film called Greyhound with Tom Hanks, and that's about the North Atlantic convoys. It's a brilliant film, I must have watched it 20 times, and at the start and at the end it's got PBYs or Catalinas involved, and it doesn't go into a great detail, but it gives you an idea of what these anti-submarine controls and all that. It gives you an insight into how these aircraft were used, as well as rescuing downed airmen during the war.
Yeah, I mentioned they had guns for defence in case they were attacked, but the actual description of these is a maritime patrol bomber. Now that is important because they had bomb racks under the wings. So if they were going sub hunting, they'd take 2 depth charges under each wing, so 4 depth charges. If they were going out looking for or to attack surface ships, then they'd take torpedoes. And those strong enough to carry 1 under each wing, because they're big old things, these torpedoes. So yeah, apart from air sea rescue, that role came sort of later in the war. Particularly once the American Air Force were operating over Europe, out of England, they had to get over the North Sea and the English Channel. So very often damaged aircraft went down, or the crew had to bail out or whatever. And although there were surface launches to pick them up, very often it was the Catalinas patrolling that would report their position and drop smoke flares, dinghies if they needed them, and so on.
I don't think he managed to get where he was, and he managed to get it beached, so it wasn't floating.
Gosh, there's a big step through here.
It smells amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Video operator, he had a big long table here and the navigator over there. You wouldn't have had that big hatch there. But obviously when you've got a lot of people on board, you do need hatches at regular intervals, so we've made some amendments. That little box up above your head is all the control cables. So it's a very physical aircraft to fly. It takes 2 pilots. The aircraft during World War II would have had that turret on the front, which was partly for observation and partly for defence, and partly if they did attack a U-boat, they could try and suppress the fire from the U-boat by firing back at them. And I don't know if you can see on the photo, there's a little, they wanted to put one on theirs. We use that forward area now as a luggage storage area, so when we go on long trips, somebody has to crawl in there.
Oh.
They get the stuff handed to them through a hatch.
I was going to say.
It's a little bit claustrophobic.
I was going to say, it's quite big though, you can fit quite a bit in there.
You can, it's surprising how much you can get in there, to be fair. And obviously you can see, it's probably bigger than a Spitfire cockpit, as you say, but it is still pretty compact in there. You've got a couple of big lads who are pilots. Journey, you've got, sometimes they had a spare pilot as well on the, who would take over, and the other pilot would sleep in the bunk at the back. I'll have to keep it a bit short. Have you got any questions for him?
Oh, I'll take it.
110 knots.
Landing speed about 70.
What armament?
You had a 1/2-inch gun in the nose, 2 half-inch guns in the blisters, in one in each, and possibly a 1/2-inch gun at the back to stop attacks from the rear. And obviously.
wave.
Something you don't see every day.
Right. So
He's doing his Ted check. Oh my gosh, he's getting right up. You got him? He's doing his Ted checks. Yeah, Ted checks done up there. That's a good shot.
go on, Ted.
corner of the mobile phone so I don't wobble too much. Yeah, Ted's on the move. Not sure where he's going, but he's... Go Ted, go, absolutely. And I don't know if you can get your Teds out on here, but if you can do so. That's a fantastic.
Here we go, Ted, come on.
Here goes Ted, get ready everyone. Go Ted, Ted.
Early days of Iwm Duxford in the 1970s, we were delighted to receive the message earlier from Roger Leader, who is making history. He worked with the then director of this site, Officer Christopher Road, who about with tremendous. What was described by one government official as a creeping occupation of the hangars because they were allocated initially very small amounts of space for the exhibit. Gradually, mysteriously, they began to take up rather more. But if it hadn't gone like that, this place would never, ever be.
It started over there, but
So we see here today, and we wouldn't be witnessing spectacles like this running in the starting display, the Catalina. The very first model PBY Catalina were firefighting.
Go on, Ted. Put your foot down. Ted's flying so far.
They were set up in the 1980s by a team led by RAF
Thank you so much for this.
carrier pilots and subsequent anti-submarine construction all warrant with another very serving RAF pilot, the late John Watt, along with aerial photographer Arthur Gibson. They sought out exactly here to operate with something different on the air show circuit. Their first Catalina that they operated on the UK in 1995. This based on RAF pilot RAF Hornell, where construction on the jet product. Rather than private operation, Iwm Duxford. such an impressive display. They then spent some time looking for another one, and they found this, which is a very interesting example because it has extremely oversized rear fuselage blisters. The original blisters on the Catalina were used for the mounting of some of the machine guns, defensive armament. These are much larger than the original because this aeroplane was to have been operated on atmosphere 5.
Brilliant, Ted. Well done. Look at this. Perfect landing.
Salmon smooth landing there.
£69.91 for that flight. Thank you so much for the super chats.
Well, we might actually see Ted coming out.
Right, so I'll leave it live anyway so you can see. Yeah. It's just
What, plane?
It's just going behind that person. Lovely day here at Duxford. Ted's out for Claire there, Ted Coningsby. Thank you, Davey. But now we know this works, this could be something I can do. Get on the cargo live at certain places.
Blown there now. Oh, they get to see the behind the scenes.
That's
look.
it, there you go.